Browns' Shedeur Sanders receives major update after Joe Flacco struggles. The Cleveland Browns turned heads when they benched veteran Joe Flacco and thrust rookie Dillon Gabriel into the game late during a 41-17 Week 2 loss to the Baltimore Ravens. Head coach Kevin Stefanski addressed the decision to bench Flacco, who turned the ball over twice and was inefficient, but will keep hold of the starting job, for now. Cleveland.com's Mary Kay Cabot said that while she expects Flacco to remain the starter through a difficult stretch of the schedule, she appeared confident that rookie Shedeur Sanders and Gabriel are going to see the field, given the direction the Browns are going, after losing their first 2 games of the season. I think the reason why we're asking the question is because in a game like this, Joe turned the ball over twice. He had a horrible interception this game. But I do think the more that I think about this right now, they're heading into a very grueling stretch, Cabot said on the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. I just don't think now is the time to do it. So I agree with the decision to stick with Joe Flacco for now, but it's going to get to the point at some time this season where they're going to say, all right, let's see what these rookies can do. The September night air in Cleveland was heavy with tension, the kind that clings to a city whenever football expectations rise higher than the skyline itself. First Energy Stadium was buzzing under the lights, but not for the reason anyone in the Browns front office hoped for. Joe Flacco, the Super Bowl 47 MVP and mid-season savior turned mentor, had struggled through 3 straight possessions. The boos that rained down weren't malicious, they were weary, drawn from decades of heartbreak. And somewhere on the sideline, rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders adjusted his helmet and stared at the field. He wasn't just watching a game. He was watching his future come hurtling toward him. The update he had been waiting for, an unspoken but inevitable shift in the Browns' quarterback plans, was coming quicker than expected. Joe Flacco's return meets harsh reality. The Browns had signed Joe Flacco as both a stabilizer and a stopgap. He was supposed to buy the team time. With Deshaun Watson's long-term injury saga and off-season uncertainties hanging over Berea, the Browns needed someone who could steady the offense while grooming their new prize, Shedeur Sanders, the son of Hall of Famer Deion Sanders, a polarizing figure who'd electrified college football at Colorado. At first, it seemed reasonable. Flacco, still tall in the pocket, still armed with a cannon of a right arm, still capable of dissecting defenses when protected, had managed to orchestrate some decent drives in training camp and preseason. But live bullets in September are different. The rust was evident. Timing with receivers was off. Pressure rattled him in ways it never did in Baltimore. And in Cleveland, fans don't have patience for quarterbacks who look old before their time. By halftime of the season opener, whispers became roars. The Browns didn't just want Shedeur Sanders, they demanded him. The update arrives. Behind closed doors in Berea, head coach Kevin Stefanski and general manager Andrew Berry met after the game. They didn't need spreadsheets or analytics to tell them what the naked eye had shown. Joe Flacco wasn't the answer anymore. The Browns had invested their future in Sanders, drafting him with the hope he could finally be the face Cleveland had long been denied. Bernie Kosar had once carried that weight. Baker Mayfield briefly flirted with the role. Deshaun Watson's saga left scars. But Sanders was different. He was young, charismatic, and had the kind of star power that could ignite both the locker room and the city. The major update was simple, yet seismic. Shedeur Sanders' timeline to start has been moved up. Flacco will serve as mentor, but Sanders is now the quarterback we're preparing as QB1. The locker room reacts. When the announcement filtered down, the locker room split into 2 emotions, relief and excitement. "Look, Joe's been great to us," said veteran guard Joel Bitonio. "He's taught a lot, and he still has that presence. But when Shedeur walks in, the energy changes. Guys rally around him. It's different." Defensive end Myles Garrett echoed the sentiment. "We drafted Shedeur for a reason. He's got the tools, he's got the swagger, and he's got that leadership you can't coach. When the defense sees a young QB come in and not flinch, it lights a fire. That's contagious." Even Amari Cooper, who'd built chemistry with countless quarterbacks in his career, leaned in. "It's about timing. Sometimes young QBs need to be protected. Sometimes they need to be pushed. For Shedeur, the time is now." Shedeur's perspective. Shedeur Sanders had always lived under a spotlight. First as Deion's son, then as the flashy transfer who carried Colorado through chaotic Saturdays, now as a top NFL draft pick. He knew expectations weren't fair, but he thrived on them. The Cleveland media swarmed his locker after the update became public. His response was calm, almost rehearsed, but layered with conviction. "I came here to work," Sanders said. "I didn't come here to sit back forever. Joe's a legend, and I've learned a lot from him in a short time. But if coach says it's time, I'll be ready." That's not pressure. That's purpose. A city hungry for a savior. Cleveland has long craved stability at quarterback. Since 1999, the list of names has read like a patchwork quilt of heartbreak. Tim Couch, Derek Anderson, Colt McCoy, Brandon Weeden, Johnny Manziel, Baker Mayfield, Deshaun Watson. Each was supposed to be the guy. Each fell short. Now, Sanders arrives not just as another name, but as a symbol. He represents hope not only for wins, but for a new identity, one that blends swagger, toughness, and charisma. The fact that he's young and unafraid resonates deeply with a fanbase that's endured years of false dawns. The Browns' major update wasn't just an organizational shift. It was a promise to the city: we're done waiting. The future is here now. Joe Flacco's role. Flacco, to his credit, took the news with grace. "I've been around long enough to know this league's about windows," Flacco said. "My window here is mentorship. I'll help Shedeur however I can. At the end of the day, you just want the team to win." That humility softened the transition. Instead of creating a QB controversy, it built a bridge. Sanders leaned into the role of student, still seeking advice on film breakdowns, protections, and game management. Flacco became a quarterback coach in pads. On the practice field, the shift in first-team reps was immediate. Sanders' throws hit differently in practice, faster, sharper, with an air of inevitability. Teammates noticed his confidence. He wasn't just running plays, he was commanding them. Reporters chronicled every detail: the quick slant to Cooper, the deep ball to Elijah Moore, the silent cadence in the red zone. The young QB was raw, sure, but the flashes of brilliance were undeniable. "His arm talent is special," Stefanski admitted. "But it's the poise that stands out. He never looks rattled. That's rare for a rookie." The first start. The Browns circled Week 3 as the target. It wasn't just about matchups, it was about giving Sanders 2 weeks of prep as the clear starter. When game day came, the stadium atmosphere was unlike anything in years. Fans wore prime-time junior shirts, referencing both Shedeur and his legendary father.